Hello treasured friend, I'm Rebecca from RebeccasTreasures.com, and today I'll be showing you how to crochet the Picot Drops Mug Cozy, which happens to be my contribution for the Holiday Stash Down Crochet Along 2016. If you haven't joined the Crochet Along yet, there's no time like the present to get started on holiday gifts. I'll leave a link for you below. Back to the Picot Drops Mug Cozy. For this project, you'll need sport yarn, preferably cotton or other natural fibers, and a 4mm G6 hook. Are you ready? Let's get started. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start with a slip knot. I'm tripling up on my thread because I don't have any sport yarn on hand, but you should be using sport yarn with a 4mm or G hook. Let's start with a chain of 17. Here we have our chain of 17, and now we're going to go ahead and start row 1. Now, for row 1, we're going to single crochet into the second chain from the hook and into the next chain, but we want to work into the bottom loops only so that these V loops end up on the bottom of the row and we just work into the one loop up here. So skip this first loop and work into the second loop. So insert hook in and work a single crochet here. Then work a single crochet into the next chain like so. Now we're going to go ahead and chain 12. Then we're going to skip 12 chains on the first chain we made, and this will create the handle. We're going to single crochet into the last 2 chains, so you don't really have to count the skipped chains. Single crochet 1 here, and then single crochet into the very last stitch. Row 1 is complete, and as you can see, we've got this large loop. This is what will go over the mug handle. Chain 1 to complete the row and turn. Now we're ready to start row 2. Row 2 creates a base for the first picot row. So what we're going to do is single crochet 1 into the first stitch, chain 2, now skip 2 stitches, which are this next single crochet and this chain. Now single crochet 1 into this chain here. And we're going to repeat this process across the row where we chain 2, skip 2, and single crochet 1. So chain 2, skip 2 stitches, and single crochet, chain 2, skip 2 stitches, single crochet, chain 2, skip 2 stitches, single crochet, chain 2 again, skip 2 stitches, and single crochet into the very last stitch like so. And this creates 5 chain 2 spaces, so you get this little space like this, and you'll have 5 of them. And all we have to do is chain 1 to complete the row and turn. Now we can start row 3. Okay, we've just completed row 2, and now we're ready to start row 3. What we're going to do for row 3 is work into these chain spaces we created in the previous row. And in doing so, we'll skip the single crochet spaces before, after, and between. So single crochet into the first chain space here. Now we're going to work a picot. So for the picot, we'll chain 3, and then we'll take our hook and insert it into the top of the single crochet stitch we just made and through the V of the stitch like so. So you've got these loops on your hook, then we'll yarn over and pull through all the loops on the hook, and that completes the picot. Single crochet one more time into the same chain space. Now we're going to chain 2, and here we can single crochet into the next chain space. Now work a chain 3 picot and go in through the V, the ridges of the stitch like so, and we complete the picot. Then we single crochet into the same space again. Chain 2 and single crochet into the next chain space. Then work a picot. Single crochet again, and then we chain 2. You just repeat this process where you single crochet, picot, single crochet into one chain space, chain 2, and repeat. So single crochet, chain 3 for a picot, complete the picot, single crochet, and chain 2 completes the wrap. Now we just have one more to do. So single crochet, work a picot, complete that picot, single crochet, and chain 2 again. This last chain 2 is actually the turning chain and what gives it height for the next row. Now, if you want to change colors and have alternating blocks of colors, this is where we want to do it. So we're going to undo this last chain 2 and single crochet, because this is where we want to change the colors. Now, if you want to work in one color, that is perfectly fine too. You can do that. It looks amazing in one color. But, you know, 2 colors gives it a fun pop. So, start to work the last single crochet until 2 loops are on the hook. Drop the yarn here and pick up the new color. Create a sort of loop to draw it through the stitch to complete the single crochet. Give that first yarn a bit of a tug so it's nice and snug. Now take the first yarn up and over so we can secure it when we start the chains. Grab onto the second color, hold the loose yarn snug there, and chain 1. Take these 2 tails and swing them over so they get secured with the second chain. Chain 1 again, so we've got a chain 2. Turn for row 4 and drop these tails to the side. The yellow one, which is from the second yarn, will get weaved in later. The blue one will get carried up for the next block. Now, we're ready to start row 4. Row 4 will work around these picots and to the front and the back of the chain spaces that connect them. We are going to work drop stitches in this row. The first one is slightly different than the rest. So yarn over for a double crochet and insert hook into the same chain space that we worked into for the last picot group. So you work before the picot group, and the double crochet gets worked right here like so, and that's the first stitch of the row. The chain 2 doesn't count. Alright, chain 1, and this brings us over the picot. Let's work another drop double crochet. So yarn over for a double crochet. Now we want to work this double crochet into the same chain space but after the single crochet that follows this picot. Go into the chain space and we want to work to the front of this chain 2 space. So go into the chain space here and go up here so we're in front of this chain space that connects the picots. This is how you work the drop double crochet after the picot group, and now you can see the first block around the picot. Let's work the next drop double crochet and start the next block. Yarn over. This time, instead of working to the front of this connecting chain 2 space, we want to work behind. This next drop double crochet will be worked before this picot group into the same chain space. So go behind this chain space and go into the chain space from the row below to work the double crochet. There, see it creates a crisscross effect which keeps everything nice, secure, and tight together. Chain 1 and work a drop double crochet after this picot to the front of this chain space. Yarn over, go in and around this chain space so we're to the front of the one above and complete the double crochet. Now work the next drop double crochet to the back of this chain space before this picot group. Yarn over, go behind into the chain space below and complete the double crochet. Chain 1 and work the next double crochet to the front and after. Work the next to the back and before. Chain 1, then work to the front and after. Then work to the back and before. Chain 1, and then we work the last double crochet after this picot group. Finally, chain 1. This completes row 4, and now we can turn for row 5. For row 5, we'll repeat row 3, only this time there are chain 1 spaces instead of chain 2 spaces. Otherwise, it is exactly the same as row 3, where we single crochet, picot, single crochet into the chain space, and chain 2 across the row. So again, that's single crochet, chain 3 for a picot, complete that picot, single crochet, chain 2. And remember to chain the 2. It's easy to forget to do. And then repeat this process across. And see, I'm skipping over the double crochets and working only into the chain space above the picot from the row below. And we're going into the last one. And again, if you want to stay with the same color, stay with it and don't worry about switching colors. But if you want to switch colors, remember, you're going to start the single crochet, drop the color, and pick up the other color to complete the single crochet. Right, give a little tug on the yarn we were just working with. Then do the same thing where we bring it over so it gets secured into the chain 2, chain 1, and then pull it over to the other side so it gets secured with the second chain, and turn for row 6 where we'll repeat row 4. Again, work into the chain space below before the picot. Chain 1. Work after the picot to the front of this chain space. Then work before this picot to the back of this chain space, and you'll repeat this process across the row. Now I just need to make my yarn a bit longer here using this fabulous technique by Brianna Kay. If you have not seen her video for creating bulky yarn from using one lightweight skein, I highly recommend it, and I'll leave a link for you in the video description box below. Alright, chain 1, then work after the picot to the front of this chain space. Then work before this picot to the back of this chain space. Chain 1, after, in front, before, to the back, chain 1, after, in front, before, to the back. Chain 1 and work the final double crochet after the picot group. Chain 1 to complete the row. Then all you have to do is repeat rows 5 and 6 until you reach the desired length, and then when you get to the desired length, you turn and work the final row. Okay, now I'm going to show you the final row. If you've been working the Mug Cozy, you will of course have a much longer piece than this. I only did 2 blocks for the tutorial for you to see the stitches needed. See how the pattern creates these blocks? Here are 2 rows of blocks with 5 blocks in each of them, but you will have about 14 block rows. It could be a bit more or a bit less. It all depends on your gauge and how big the mug is. You want to make sure not to make it too long because otherwise it will just slip off and we wouldn't want to have that. Now I'm going to show you the final row, which creates the second handle. So single crochet 2, 1 into the first stitch and another into the next one, which is a chain. Now chain 12. Skip 11 stitches and single crochet into the last 2 stitches. You don't even have to count. Just go straight to the last 2 stitches. Why bother counting if you don't have to, right? All that's left is to chain 1, fasten off, and weave in your ends. Here you see we've got 2 handles and the fun pattern between, which yours will be much longer for a cozy, rather like this one in length. Or say you prefer a solid color, you'll have something that looks more like this. Then all you have to do is grab your mug cozy and mug, take the one handle, slip it on, wrap it around. See how it's not quite the same length? The stretch takes care of that as you slip on this last handle. Then fill your mug with your favorite brew or goodies for your gift-giving package. Wrap it up, give it away, or drink your favorite brew, and you have a fabulous mug cozy to enjoy with a fun textured pattern. I hope you've enjoyed this project tutorial. Be sure to visit the blog for the full free version of this crochet pattern and to learn more about the Holiday Stash Down Crochet Along. Find links to both in the video description box below. Plus, be sure to check out my Crocheting Treasure groups and communities on Ravelry, Facebook, and Google+. Share your projects with us there, or tag @Becca's Treasures on Instagram and Twitter to share with us there instead. I hope you have a fantabulous day. Thanks for tuning in to Rebecca's Treasures. I hope to see you again very soon.